Hey everybody, tonight is the final night for my second treatment of the red slime cyanobacteria. I did a treatment a few days ago. You're supposed to give it 24 hours, do a water change, and then if need be you can do a second treatment, which is what I did. So we are now 2 days into the second treatment, and tonight we are due for a water change. I'm going to actually bring the water level back up to normal, and when I'm done I'm going to remove the air stone from there too. The air stone is part of the treatment process. You've got to really make sure you've got good vigorous gas exchange when you're using the product that I'm using. And if you haven't been following along, I'll attach a card so that you can look at the videos where I actually added the treatment into the tank. And when you look in there you can still see some red. Once again, I did not beat it all the way back or kill it off completely. I didn't expect to, and I'm not too concerned about that. And in fact, that's not really what this video is going to be about. When I started shooting video about this tank recently, I got some comments from some people, and I gathered that there's once again a misunderstanding about what brackish water actually entails. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, and we can look at this tank for just a moment, and then again we'll go over and look at my new tank. And we'll actually look at the amount of salts we use. So first and foremost, the important thing to remember is that to make brackish water you need to use marine salts, not aquarium salt. Aquarium salt is simply sodium chloride, and that will make the water saltier but not brackish. Brackish is on the way to being marine water, and therefore you need to use the marine salts in the water in order to make it brackish water, not simply the aquarium salt, which is again sodium chloride. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is where we're going to go over and have a look at the other tank for a moment, is the actual amount of salt that we put in these tanks in order to make them brackish. So when you're using aquarium salts in your water, if you're one of those people that actually adds aquarium salt to your freshwater tank, you probably use 1 teaspoon per gallon of water. So that is 20 teaspoons for this tank. This is a 20-gallon tank, and this is what 20 teaspoons of aquarium salt looks like. If I was going to make this a salted tank for my fish, again, aquarium salt, not marine salt, that is the amount I would be putting in there. And I know that looks like a lot of salt to dump into a tank full of fresh water and still call it fresh water. But I keep my tank at the low end brackish. It's not the lowest of low end. I could get a little less brackish, but still at the very low end of brackish. This is how much marine salts would go in a 20-gallon tank. So that right there would put me at 1.008 in 20 gallons of water. That's not even halfway to a marine tank. If I was actually going to make this a marine tank, I would need to put more than twice this much salt in this 20-gallon tank. I know that's hard to believe. So if you think a teaspoon of salt is a lot to put in your water, it's not. It really isn't. And you can actually go up to about a tablespoon per gallon depending on the fish you have. If you have really soft water fish, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But then again, if you have really soft water fish, I wouldn't recommend putting any salt in the water at all. So let's go back over and have one last look at the tank, and then we'll do a before and after, and we'll just call that a video. Alright, there we go. So I did get in and wipe the glass down, and a lot more of the red slime actually vacked out of there than I was expecting it to. So I was glad about that. And I do have a snail here we're going to drop in and see if he finds it. He sure did. As usual, he's always upset with me after I do a water change and get in there and do anything to his tank. It disturbs him, and he doesn't like it. But I have a harrowing story to tell, and we can watch him eat his snail, although this isn't a good camera where I can get a good close-up of him. I'll try. Hang on a minute. That's a little better. So when I got done with my gravel vac, it's a standard gravel vac that I use, not just a regular siphon. So it's got the larger cavity that goes into the smaller hose, and of course it's got the little valve in there that is designed to catch fish or trap any large debris that goes up through there or anything like that. So normally when I'm done with a water change and I've finished with my gravel vac, I go into the bathroom in the basement here, and into the shower I use that as my sort of disposal, and I shake out the end of the gravel vac and knock all the last little bit of stuff back out into the shower, and then I rinse it down. And today, for some reason, I knew there was a bunch of that cyanobacteria and stuff kind of caught up in there, so instead of doing it into the shower, I did it into the toilet. And as I was walking away, I noticed what looked like some of the lump of bacteria start swimming around on its own, so I had to do a double take and go back, and I had picked one of the gobies up inside the gravel vac and carried him to the bathroom, and I dumped the gravel vac into the toilet, fortunately, and dumped my goby into the toilet. I had to run around and get a net really quick and go and rescue him from the toilet. So I plucked him out and I put him back in the tank, and so hopefully everything was fine. Not too much stress for him. He didn't seem to mind it one way or the other. I thought about grabbing the camera, but I was afraid he would have swam down and gone around the bend and I would have never seen him again. So while he was still kind of hanging out near the surface, he just sort of laid down on the porcelain right there, and it was no problem at all for me to grab my small net and get in there and just dip him right back out and put him back in the tank. But boy, sure I'm glad I saw him. That would have been quite a mistake. I would have just forever wondered where one of my gobies had gotten off to. I was, missing one, and I would have never known where it went. So you got to pay attention to stuff like that, especially when you've got tiny little fish like these. As far as the cyanobacteria treatment went, you can still see there's some red color in there, and it's probably not going to be very long at all before we're seeing sheets of that start to grow back. I may give it a few more days and give it another treatment or something. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I'm kind of tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of running the treatments. I don't like running the air stone. I don't like the way it makes the tank look, and it puts salt accretion all over everything. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Well, you can kind of see it there. And you can see how I get salt crusting up. And that's just from the splashing of the bubbles. And that was with the tank being greatly reduced in salinity. When I did that other water change, I had lowered the salinity of the tank. So there you go. We're going to call that good. Call that the end of the video. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was helpful to somebody. And as always, I would ask you to subscribe. If nothing else, you want to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos of Butterbean, because he's just the coolest fish ever. So thanks again for watching this one. And me and Butterbean will see you real soon on the next one.